Have you ever felt like your reality was just unraveling? Like the things that you knew were true about you, the things that you knew were true about the relationship, all of a sudden seem to disintegrate while you're with this toxic person. You start to see the mask that comes off. You start to see a different reality based of what you've actually been in. Maybe you're wondering, how does narcissistic abuse infiltrate almost every aspect of your life and seem to destroy it, to break it apart, and to shatter everything that you actually know? Are you ready at this point to break free from the toxic cycle and reclaim your purpose, your direction, the reality that you desperately want to be able to have in your life, that you want to be able to claim of this used to be true about me, this used to be true in my life, and no longer seems to be even accessible? We're going to talk today about how narcissistic abuse affects your reality, your frame of existence. The things that you view throughout a day-to-day basis, I want you to kind of picture a picture frame with no picture inside, but a viewpoint where you're looking out into life, where you're looking out into how life is actually running and developing. And I want you to realize that that frame is made up of four sides. The four sides of that frame: on the left side, you have the rules and the regulations. On the right side, you have the regulations of what people have put on you. On the left side, on the other side, you have the rules that people have stated you can and you can't do this. Underneath, on the bottom side of the frame, you have the laws of your existence, of what has been imposed upon you, whether that's society-wise or just laws that you've put in your own mind of like, these are the things that are happening on a day-to-day basis. And at the top of the frame, the top piece of the frame, I want you to think of this as being the story. The stories that have made up all of your life, that have actually composed this viewpoint of reality, that's all that you can see. Now, the hard part is when you're in a toxic and a narcissistic relationship, those viewpoints get skewed. They get contorted and misstrued, and you're not able to actually see clearly. Like the actual pane of glass of the picture frame gets all fogged up and you're not able to see out. And what it impacts is every single part of your life. The hard part is a lot of people don't count the cost of how much it's impacting. And so as a result, they don't make moves to grow and change and develop themselves. There's a process that we work on here inside of Raw Motivation to help you find you, to help you step back into who you actually are, your purpose, your direction, your calling. But it's hard when all these pieces are affecting you on a day-to-day basis. How has it actually affected you? When we talk about narcissistic abuse, we talk about all the different impacts, and typically we only focus on emotionally and mentally. But what does this look like on different aspects? Physically, a lot of times narcissistic abuse takes a severe toll on you. It impacts your well-being. A huge part of this is a constant state of stress that your body is put under. Constantly. Not knowing how this person is going to react, not knowing how he's going to respond. Is he going to come home and be upset at me? Is he going to be happy? Is he going to be loving? Is he going to be mean? Like, what is actually going to happen? And it produces this high level of anxiety. And this anxiety, the emotional turmoil, leads to physical symptoms. Might be where you can't sleep. Might be where you're dealing with being tired all the time, having a lot of lethargy. And like, you're like, man, I just feel fatigued. Like, how do I even get past this? And all of a sudden it starts bringing out physical ailments. Like, I've talked to so many people where the hair loss because of the stress, where they have autoimmune disease, where they have different pieces that have popped up with OCD of them trying to do different things to protect themselves from the toxic person. The hard part is they get stored in the body and it starts to change different pieces about them. Sometimes sicknesses that they have that doctors can't figure out because they're like, it doesn't make sense until they realize the stress and the anxiety that's being pushed upon that person. We've talked to people that they've been stuck in gaslighting and emotional abusive relationships from their toxic person. And whenever they did this, it just left them feeling drained. They're unable to sleep, affecting overall health. And as a result, you stop caring for you. Life gets busy. You focus only on him. You stop caring about you. Then you start to see the piece of where he starts throwing it back on you, that you're not taking care about you, that you're not working on you, that you're not developing, that you look bad, all these different things. You start beating yourself up, shaming yourself for your physical body because you haven't had time to go to the gym, because if you go to the gym, then he's going to stress out, then he's going to make fun of you, then he's going to say oh, you're probably cheating on me, all these different projection things. And so then it stops you investing into you. It stops you actually working on you, and it slows down that whole process. You start to feel even worse about yourself because of what happens there. Then we move into the emotional and the mental aspect of it, of where it leads to not just the anxiety, but then that develops into depression, where you start to realize that you don't even have self-esteem. It feels like that's gone. Like the version of you that you once had that was confidence and that was capable of doing different things, you're like, yeah, I don't even know who that is. It leaves you isolated from your friends and family. It leaves you locked inside because it's hard to be able to bring this up. It's hard to be able to tell people about it. Sometimes this will lead to different types of disconnection. Emotional disconnection from friends and family, spiritual disconnection from God, like all different types of disconnection. And you're often left struggling of, how do I even trust my own judgment? How do I even trust what I'm seeing, what's happening in my life? Many times people start to question their own worth. Am I good enough? I must not be worth it because he keeps telling me that I'm not worth it. I must not be worth it because he left me to cheat with someone else 15 years younger. I must not be worth it because he doesn't show up for the kids. I must not be worth it. And the story goes on and on and on as you start to beat yourself up for the narcissist. Think of it this way. After years of emotional abuse, your confidence is probably close to zero, being shattered over and over and over again. As a result, you're completely disconnected from other people. You're disconnected from God. You're disconnected from your purpose. And you start to doubt, what direction am I actually going? How can I keep moving forward? This is what leaves you locked into this cycle of like, well, maybe I need to go back, or maybe I just need to stick it out, or maybe I need to be with him. Maybe this will work out better. You minimize it. You start to brush it away, but it continues coming back. It doesn't just impact the relationship that you're in, it impacts all relationships. It doesn't say confined to just the intimate relationship between partners. It spills over into your family, spills over into your friendships, even professional relationships. Like you start to doubt if you can actually trust and form healthy relationships because of everything that's getting pushed upon you. Like, what do I actually do? What do I actually believe? Like a lot of times a narcissist will bring you to the place of isolating you from your friends and family, where you're like, but I want to connect with other people, but they don't let you. You're like, no one would not let me do something because I'm my own person. It doesn't have to be no. A lot of times a narcissist will manipulate you very subtly to a point where you will stop going out with friends and family, not because they told you no, but because they did it in a completely different way, an undermined way that made you frustrated and made you doubt yourself that you should even do it. This could be blowing up your phone. This could be getting to a place of like giving you the silent treatment afterwards. This could be, talking about like, oh, I thought you cared about us. Like you just spend so much time. This could be trying to make you feel like you spend so much time with everybody else, and as a result, you don't care about him. Emotional manipulation. Trying to do anything to keep you under lock and key. You see, a narcissist knows if you go out with your friends and family and you actually tell them the shit that's been happening at home, they're going to start saying, hey, these are red flags. That's what he's scared of. Because he knows if you start understanding and you start seeing the abuse for what it actually is, you will run. He doesn't want that. You have to stay stuck. So the easiest way is to keep you isolated from your friends and family, people that could actually speak truth into your life. And as a result, you're cut off from all those sources and he has full control over you. Now, it doesn't just affect just those relationships, it affects professional relationships. Like it impacts your career, it impacts the business that you run. Like you're left running a business, and you're like, I don't even know if I can make these decisions. And people are kind of like, you've been making these decisions for the past 6 months, for the past year. Like, why now? Because it's eaten away at your confidence so much. Oftentimes, like work becomes like a place of a conflict in the relationship where the narcissist, where he's putting you down for how much you work, for how much you've accomplished, because he hasn't, because he doesn't look good enough. So as a result, he has to project stuff onto you and he has to pull you down so that he feels better about himself because you're lower emotionally, because he's not greater in the aspect of finances. You'll see this consistent emotional turmoil that will move your focus in the business. Like you'll run out of productivity. Like your decision-making abilities will be completely skewed. Like you'll see this over and over and over. Your work will start to suffer, leading you to missed opportunities, stunted growth in your career, like stunted growth in the business that you operate. And you're left being like, I've wasted thousands and thousands of dollars, not even just on him. Yes, on him for sure, but not even just on him, but on missed opportunities in my business because I was distracted with all the stress from him. Do you see how much it affects? Talking through all of this, it kind of boils it down into the main aspects of life that it affects. It affects your physical body. It affects your mental, your emotional, your spiritual health. It affects your relationship with others, and it affects the business that you run. It affects everything. For people that are like, it doesn't affect everything, it just affects this one area. I'm like, one area connects to all of them. It spills over. This is how we work with people, is identifying every single piece of what's happening and then helping build you a plan out of it. Helping build you a plan out of the chaos, out of the frustration that you're currently in, not knowing what to be able to do. Like, our approach is very comprehensive in helping you heal and grow and develop who you actually are. Taking you on a healing journey of breaking the trauma bond, the rumination, the sleepless nights, the triggers that keep putting you back and forth, and bringing you into a growth mindset. It's helping you develop healthy boundaries, helping you move forward with your vision and values so you don't go back to the toxic person, and you also don't get with a toxic person down the road, but you know who you are, and you're able to continue to grow, develop, and thrive in that direction. If you want to know more about this program and how we actually put this together, one, I'd love to talk to you one-on-one. You can go to rawmotivations.com, or if you're like, I'm ready to jump in, and go to claritychallenge.net. It's our 45-day challenge to help you start to understand the tools and how we actually break people free, mentally and emotionally, from a toxic person. Until we change that trauma bond, you will always be stuck. So check that out today, claritychallenge.net, or if you want to talk to me one-on-one or talk through some of the coaching opportunities we have inside of Raw Motivations, you can go to rawmotivations.com today.